Smooth, thank you. Welcome back to Super Sentai Review, episode number 128. This I'm reviewing 8 straight episodes for Jetman, episodes 40 to 47. The first two is a two-parter featuring the debut of the Neo Jetman and their evil Supreme Commander, who would have to be the commander of Jetman's Terror Superior Officer, where they come in and, oh boy, I would talk about that in a minute. So, we have it where Ragant, Maria, and Gray are taking them on, along with new monster, who apparently there's an asteroid that was brought. This basically forms the creature Meteor Bem. That's the name of this creature. And okay, I'm not really going to answer that. So, basically, apparently it's got anti-bird energy. Yeah, the bird energy, I'm like, okay, this is interesting. I did not expect him to bring this up again because this is the first time since episode 2 they brought up the name of the power of the bird stuff. And of course the power's been training and looks like they're about to be defeated, and all of a sudden Neo Jetman show up. Yes. Who, by the way, they're not wearing traditional Super Sentai suits. It's like the regular Jetman suit, except they're all black. And this you might find quite interesting about these guys. No names. Yes, the 5 Jetmen have no names. Yeah. I do not know why in the world they're never named. They're just never named. Yeah. Now, in the case of the monster of this one, this I believe is, if I remember correctly, I believe this is the second to last monster that, because there's actually one more monster that's up in episode 43, and that's it for Raijin. Yeah, he's got Meteor Bem is the second to last monster he unleashes. Tran unleashed his last 2 monsters in this one. The Trial Manufacturer Robot, which I'll get to him, and the Modern Robot Veronica. Yeah, that should be interesting. And the other 2, they're out of monsters. Yeah, they had their monster. Gray had his last monster unleashed back in episode 39, and Maria, her last one was back in episode 33. So, they pull away, and of course, this maker just comes totally completely out of nowhere. First of which, how the heck did he even know where this place? I'm sure, in fact, he probably knew about the military. Fine. Also, okay, so how he able to access the doors? High superior officer, probably has intelligence. Okay, but this guy, oh boy, almost a lot of time you see him, he's got sunglasses on, even inside. So he's like, yeah, your Jetmen are basically useless. I'm sending my Jetman out, and then when of course BDM comes after they already defeated the monster, of course the monster comes back, and of course they unleash the main Megazord. Yes, the main one. Which is interesting, the fact they unleash this damn thing. Then pretty much with them unleashing the main Megazord, it's like they're doing good for a while, then they form the Megazord, and they lose pretty badly. Oh yeah, definitely. They lose pretty badly. Oh yeah, definitely. Now, yeah. So, lucky enough, the regular Jetmen, who basically are depowered at this point, and they do some research, compare. Oh yeah, we actually found a way to secure the power. The commander reads this, and he's like, he destroys the evidence. And the Neo Jetman, this being somewhat arrogant. Now, here's the thing. The lead Neo Jetman's a pretty decent guy, while the rest of his men are just grunts. They are basically pretty much jerks. They're one-dimensional. There's nothing. They do have a woman in the group who's basically a bodybuilder, but nothing really interesting about the group at all. Yes. Now the thing with Neo Jetman is, unlike the regular Jetman who have bird energy basically in their bodies, in the case of Neo Jetman, they have bird generators built into their bodies, so they can generate this stuff no problem. And like the regular Jetman was able to go out to save them right after Ryu, who's had enough of the commander, who basically is like, "Yeah, you're useless. You're not coming home. We're not welcome losers here." And Ryu. Now here's the thing: the first original Jetman as civilians, despite the fact Ryu is part of Skyforce. Yes, I mean, an active part of Skyforce, but he technically is in the military. He's in Skyforce. He volunteered to join the project for Skyforce, part of the Earth Defense Force, obviously. Yes, I get the fact the other ones are, but him? No, he actually is fully trained. He's a fully trained military officer. Why the heck this is never brought up? Probably because he's basically wearing civvies a lot of the time. Probably. He looks like a freaking jock, basically, when he's dressed. So, Ponch and go out, and of course, it comes disbanded because they can't form the energy anymore. And of course, man tries to appeal to him, but it turns out the reason why he's doing this, why in the world he created the Neo Jetman, was out of pure pettiness. Yes. Because disappears dare choose a woman over him. Yes, the guy is clearly a sexist. And then she sees, when she's right after she finished talking to him, the Neo Jetmen, minus basically 4 of them anyways, with the exception of Neo Jetman 1, you see the rest of them kick out the Jetman out of their own base. Why? As far as I can tell, they're just being complete utter buffoons. And of course, like Aya, she of course is not a buffoon. Heck, even at one point, after the apparent defeat of Meteor Bem, he apparently used the time to sneak into the base. Yes, he sneaks into the base. Which, wow, this is something. Like, this is the first time I've seen it since Live Man. Now, I do not know if this happened between Live Man and this one. If it happened in Turbo Ranger, 5-Man. If it happened in any of these two, I have no idea. But in this one, yeah, first time since Live Man, we actually see a monster infiltrate the base. And here's a first. Yeah, this is the first time I've seen it since... Last time I saw this was probably back with... I would probably say with Battlefield J. You have a creature who ends up in the strategy room of the Rangers. Yeah, first time since Battlefield J I've seen this. Though he's able to take out the commander, no problem. Eventually, Monster is destroyed by the end of the episode, thanks to using the combined forces of them. Though, as for the Jetman, how they get the powers back, Neo Jetman sacrificed their power. Just basically, you put their hand, have millivolts burn energy from their generators, and the Neo Jetman depowered. And of course, the Jetman got the power back, and defeat the monster, no problem. Yep. And of course, also, Tran basically mentions them. What a very interesting monster. And he just uses basically Regi's own monster. Raijin himself does not create a new... He actually creates a new monster with the very... Well, he doesn't do it in 42. His next one's in 43. 42 is pretty much a pointless episode. It's like, oh, we have this robot. We have this pointless... We have Gray and Maria take on the Jetman. Yeah, this episode was completely pointless. Yes, it's an absolute pointless excursion. You could easily skip 42. In the case of 43, it's basically, even though it says even though it's a prelude, it technically is part 1 of a 3-parter, this one. Yes, where you have Raijin unleashing his last monster, the Lynch Drill, which apparently, get this, the title of the episode is, get this, Penetrating the Commander. That is seriously the name of this episode. I am not kidding about that. It is by far one of the most baffling titles I've ever seen for a series. I mean, come on. Penetrating the Commander. Well, here it's called Sneak into the Commander's Body, but their translated title is Penetrating the Commander's Body. Yeah, the way I saw it with the translated title, it's basically a sex reference. Not really sure why they put it. Why couldn't they use the other title? I'm not really sure why. But apparently the commander gets infected. By the way, I should point out, though, there's this exercise room that made its debut just episode 40. It seemed to get here in 43. And then, as far as I can tell, I don't think it pops up again. I think it... I don't know if it pops up again the rest of the series, but it didn't pop up prior to that. I mean, it's great to see the fact they have an actual room they exercise in, because a lot of the time you don't see really do very much of anything around the base. Excuse me, I guess it's one of those rare occasions when they do it, when they're not basically in the strategy room or trying to fix the freaking Megazords. Because that's what seems like a lot of the time what they do when they're not basically fighting their monsters of the week. They're either in the strategy what they can do to the monster, or they're fixing the Megazords. Yeah, that is literally, or doing some side stuff outside of inside the base. Not really. They very rarely ever do anything outside the base at all. Oh, and by the way, where the heck the commander sleeps? Don't really know. It's the weird thing about the commander is they don't really go into her backstory at all in these episodes. Not that I can think of, no. So this one's like we have a creature inside the commander. So Corey, who basically is just the first and probably going to be the only episode she is not morph. So the other 4 use Great Icarus to go inside the commander. You probably think it is through the sexual way. No. Through her nose. Yes, and basically drag out the creature that way through her tears. And they drag her outside and eventually beat the monster. Interesting. They let set up the monster, Maja Devil Veronica. Basically a giant robot. And also Tran's last monster. Oh, his last monster officially in the whole series. Because here's the thing. There's no more monsters after this one. Well, none of theirs anyway. There technically is one more monster scene in the series, episode 46. But it's basically a filler episode. You can tell it's basically a filler with a little bit of advancement on the main stuff here. So Trenza makes a giant robot, and it's powered by human energy. Yep, kidnaps random people and powers up. Eventually, at one point, they even kidnap 3 of the Jetmen. So basically, Guy and Ryu had to basically team up, and twice in this 3-parter. The Great Acre, basically the combined 2 Megazords get stabbed in the frickin' belly. Though first time they repair, second time they use that chance to sneak into the robot to basically rescue everybody. And of course, Raijin also sabotages the damn thing. Because of course he can't stand Tran at all because he really wants to be the one to kill the Jetman. Yeah, it says, they're my prey. So he of course goes away. He runs away, though he is seen briefly next episode, where he's seen basically wandering the streets for a while, transforming into a human. First time he's done this since like episode 19. Yes. The robot itself is destroyed after the human lives are freed, and of course, well, the Megazord is that robot's fully destroyed, and they don't send anything else out. No more monsters. There is technically another monster set out here. A monster from the first dimension, according to Trenza. Yes, and here's the thing about episode 46. It's a standalone episode. It's a rated episode. It's basically a character piece for him, where apparently he loves tomatoes and he's chased by this guy called the Great Tomato King. Yeah, this is a weird one. I mean, this is mostly a skippable episode, with the exception of some with Raijin, which that progresses. That's the only thing that progresses the main story in this one, because this is mostly a filler episode. 47 is the final appearance of Tranza, where he unleashes his final weapon on the Jetman, excuse me. He uses the bio weapon, turns them all into sculptures. He managed to do this with all the Jetmen, with the exception of Ryu, who happens to run into a guy in clothing who actually is Raijin in disguise. He's found a little bit later. And eventually, the weapon is destroyed, and of course, Tran is his little device on his gauntlet, which looks like a power glove. Yes, it looks like a power glove. So that's damaged. So the Jetman basically fully restored. And eventually he is defeated. And then Raijin basically tells him, after stabbing the hand, says, say my name. Raijin, say my name. Lord Raijin. He's like, I'm not going to kill you. Instead, he shatters his mind. And next time we see him in the episode, he is in a mental hospital. And that's the last you ever see of Trenza. As for why in the world they couldn't kill the character off, I have no idea. Yeah, this also is the first time I could think of, when it comes to a villain at this point, the Super Sentai stuff, usually all of them die by the time the thing is over. He is the first one in quite a while who doesn't get killed off at some point. Nope, he just... And by the way, this plot thread is never revisited when it comes to Go Kaija comes up. Nope. Yeah, as a matter of fact, the plot of the episode is nothing to do with this guy at all. His mind was destroyed, so they like that forever, and he just writes him off. Now, maybe the reason why the guy left the show after only appearing in like 11, like roughly about 12 episodes, either he was here just for a short period of time for contract reasons, maybe he was busy with something else. It's possible. What could have been with? I don't know. He probably didn't want to do a long-term thing and basically leave before the final episode's finished up, because he had this was at the time, this was the first Super Sentai he did in 3 years, because last time he did was play Dr. Kemp in of course Live Man. He would of course come back 2 years later in Die Ranger as a recurring, basically an antagonist for the Red Die Ranger. Yep, not the main overall one, mind you, just basically a recurring one who pops up here and there. Appears like a dozen episodes. As for why in the way couldn't do the rest of the run, it's kind of weird. And this is also kind of interesting, though. This also is the first time I've seen it where you have the main villain get taken, one of the villains get taken out, and it's not during the endgame stuff. This actually is the first time I've seen this, where they actually do this, where not even the endgame stuff. Nope, this is basically the prelude to it. You could say this is like part one of a 5-parter, but technically the endgame arc is like 4 parts. Yep, and well, that's gonna be it's a really I would say of these 8 episodes, 40, 41 are really good. 43 to 45 are also good, and so is 47. 42 is basically just an ignore episode. It doesn't really, the only thing advances the whole entire series. It just basically, reaffirming he wants to basically have Mari turn back into Re. And that's it for that one. Yep. 43 to 45, great 3-part that one is. I mean, like I said, with 46, basically it's mostly a skip episode, exception to Raijin stuff. Though all that's there, if you skip this episode, and here's the thing, if you basically go straight to episode 47, they basically recap the entire sequence of Raijin when he leaves the robot, he transforms into a human. They recap all of the start 47, so you can easily skip 46, and you won't miss anything. Yeah, because the whole sequence of Raijin, recap next episode. Yes, so yeah, with Tran taken out, there's only 3 villains left, and we're going to start eliminating some villains, starting with Maria. We're talking about her fate in the next episode of this one. There'll be 2 more videos for this particular viewing, this particular Super Sentai, because next we'll discuss the last 4 episodes of this run, and then basically episode 130 will be my final thoughts on Jetman. With that one also, I will announce what my next Super Sentai is going to be. Okay, so that's a particular view. Next one's going to be, more basically finishing this up. Now, I do know Overlord did premiere today, but I may not get to it today. I probably won't get to it until tomorrow. Okay, next video. Bye.